Breaking news is brought to you by Colby Brooks with Century 21 Right Pace Real Estate and buyfrombrooks.com. Let Colby Brooks handle all of your real estate needs. Breaking news on NEA Report. We just received information that this morning all tickets in the city of Egypt that were outstanding were dismissed. The prosecutor requested they all be trashed after our reporting that Chief Gerald Goza was, well, for one, no longer the police chief and also no longer legally qualified to be the police chief after he forged his GED and other documents required to be hired. New information tonight, and only on NEA Report, we're about to take this case to the next step. We're going to show you photos that were sent to us over the past 24 hours. Photos taken yesterday that show a city vehicle at his residence. Photos taken today that show that same city vehicle back at the city hall. So what gives? Information suggests this guy may still have been acting as a police officer in the last few days, and we've requested more information, but we've received a lot more today too, and we're going to go through it all next as it's live stream time on NEA Report.
Now, Stan Morris reporting.
Glad to have you in with us today. Stan Morris reporting along with you at 8:30 this morning. Every ticket outstanding in the city of Egypt was dismissed. That's because they had all been written illegally. We've got the full investigative file that I received through a Freedom of Information Act request today. We're going to have more information on every bit of this coming up right now during this live stream. This is all about the Egypt situation. First, I want to let you know that we've received some statements that we had not received yesterday. Just a short time ago, the prosecutor made a statement. We received a statement also this morning from the mayor. We're going to be getting to every one of those here in just a few moments. Let's show you the incident report that we received, because I want to start here, because this is where the entire case started. It started, if you look at the date in the upper left corner, it started on the 18th of December. That's one day after the lawsuit was settled with the city of Egypt and Stephen Warren, the guy that they illegally arrested for making Freedom of Information Act requests. The day after, he spoke with Deputy David Bailey at the Craighead County Sheriff's Department. By the way, just want to mention this. He said that he was incredibly nice to him and helpful and a professional person, which he pointed that out, and I mentioned that because he also mentioned not everyone was in this process, but he mentioned Mr. Bailey was, so I point that out there. It began with Warren taking to investigators evidence of wrongdoing. Evidence, as we've told you before yesterday, that Mr. Goza had taken some documents and done something a little bit fishy with him. Here's one of those documents we're talking about. Looks like that is a certification for Joshua Lynn Barber. But I want to show you something. That is his name, cut and pasted over it. Now let's show you this again. You can actually see the outline of the white text box where that's at. We'll go back to the original photo. We'll show you that first. You can see the original certificate, which you can see the letters behind the letters, if that makes sense to you. If not, just keep up. I'm trying. Here you can see the white box where his name was cut out and added behind it. It's a fake, but we know that. We told you about that yesterday. This was a statement issued by Mayor Jerry Cook. He sent this to me today. It was actually sent to the other media outlets yesterday. Thanks for getting to us. We appreciate it. He said, Gerald Goza submitted a letter of resignation as police chief on 1/7/2020. Since that time, Gerald Goza has not acted as police chief or police officer for the city of Egypt. The city of Egypt cooperated with Clest regarding an inquiry into Goza's qualifications. When hired by the city of Egypt in October 2018 by former police chief as a patrolman, his records show he was certified by Clest and had served many years as a police officer, including in local towns such as Cache and Alicia. That's from the mayor, Jerry Cook. Well, we learned today a few things about this. Number one, we learned that Goza was dismissed from Cache in 2010 for failure to provide a GED. Apparently, they figured this out. And apparently, he got to keep being a cop for at least 10 years after that. Or at least 10 years after that. But it all stopped back on January 7th, right? That's what the mayor said, right? Right? I'll show you a picture. This was taken by Stephen Warren on Wednesday, 1:53 p.m. to be exact, and that's the home of Gerald Goza. Hey, props to Mr. Warren. This guy doesn't let it go, and I don't blame him. Can't say that I would either. Here's some more photos to show you. All taken by Stephen Warren. You see on the left, that is a city vehicle. A city vehicle for the city of Egypt. Looks like a police cruiser, right? That was at his home yesterday. So I take that photo and I sent it to the prosecutor and I said, I think we have a problem. It looks like he's not stopped being a cop. Here's a photo that was taken today in front of City Hall in Egypt. It's the same police cruiser, back where it belonged, back where it should have been on January 7th, or before then, but where it's not been since then, because it's been at Goza's residence. The question now remains and comes into play, what else has Goza been doing since January 7th? Has he been acting as a police officer? Information suggests he may have been. Stephen Warren sent several videos along that showed Goza appearing to have his police equipment on. All right. So I want to get to a statement that was issued just a short time ago by the prosecutor, Scott Ellington. He sent this statement along. We'll use a black background to make that a little bit easier to read instead of my motion background there. We'll get back to that in a second. It says, quote, I was made aware yesterday, Wednesday, February 12th, 2020, that Egypt Police Chief Gerald Goza was removed from service by the Arkansas Commission on Law Enforcement Standards and Training, CLEST. January 9th is when that states. There may be a 2-day discrepancy there between what the sheriff told me and when it actually happened. Additionally, it's come to my attention that Goza may have continued to act as a law enforcement officer since that time, despite him receiving notice from CLEST that he had been removed from service for certification deficiencies. At no point in time until the afternoon of February 12th was my office ever aware of either of these points, according to Scott Ellington. He says, as such, my office is formally requesting the following. Number 1, any and all criminal cases arising from arrests or citations made by Goza and or Egypt Police Department under Goza dismissed. They're done. They're gone. Had I known before yesterday that Goza had been removed from service by CLEST in January, he said I would have immediately moved to dismiss said cases. Number 2, that CLEST decertify Goza as a law enforcement officer in Arkansas for failure to meet minimum standards and continuing to act as a law enforcement officer after his official removal by CLEST as of January 9th. I place the integrity of public safety as an utmost importance and will take the appropriate action as necessary under the circumstances. That's the statement from Prosecutor Scott Ellington. We also talked to Scott for just a little bit, and I asked him some more about this. I said, and we'll get to that in a minute because I've got some more information from him I want to get to, but I want to go back just for a second because it states that about asking CLEST to decertify Goza, who may have acted as a law enforcement. We don't know that, have that proof for certain, but we have indicators and evidence that suggests he may have that obviously needs to be looked into, which is the point, especially when you're considering somebody that has literally forged documents that were in his personnel file, right? Because we just showed you these here just a second ago. Here's my question to Scott Ellington that I asked him when we're on the phone. Why is this guy not being arrested right now today if he indeed, in fact, did act as a law enforcement officer since January 7th, 9th, whatever the date may be? The question is, why is he not under arrest? The question posed back to me was, what would we arrest him for? Well, I'm not a lawyer, as everybody knows, but I know a little bit maybe here and there. I've certainly not been through, 13 weeks of training, but I've gone through a few years here looking at this stuff. And what I can tell you is that impersonating a law enforcement officer last time I checked was a crime. That was also what I was told he would be arrested for if he was found to have continued to serve as a police officer since that time. And now we know that the guy was fired from Cash because he couldn't provide a GED, a legitimate one at least. There's so much more to get to this, okay? Let's go back to the investigative file, because for those of you who have followed this since yesterday, I want to read this to you. I want to read to you exactly what investigators did, and I want to tell you where things went wrong. This is all on the screen. It's probably visible, but it may be a little bit tough to make out, so just listen to me, and we will try to keep you apprised of what happened here, okay? It started, as I said, December 18th. That's when the investigator spoke with Stephen Warren. He was the guy that was arrested for making a FOIA report to the city of Egypt. Let's just mince words, or not mince words. He was arrested for requesting a police officer's forged documents. Well, he went to the Craighead County Sheriff's Department, just as he should have, and reported crimes. He met with officers several times, spoke with them, made additional paperwork, brought additional paperwork in. It continued on for some days until January 6th, when deputy, I'm going to say officer because I'm used to looking at city police reports. Deputy David Bailey spoke with Amanda Yarborough, attorney for the CLEST, Arkansas Division of Law Enforcement Standards and Training. He requested through CLEST a copy of records pertaining to Goza. It was, of course, including some of the documents we've discussed here that were fraudulent. Yarborough advised she had been in communication with Stephen Warren regarding the matter, but she said the agency she worked for did not do criminal investigation work, and she felt the matter that they were discussing was indeed in need of investigation. That's the statement from CLEST, that they thought it was in need of investigation. It had been relayed to the department, according to the report, that law enforcement needed to investigate it before CLEST would proceed with further action against the officer. Not necessarily, based on what we can tell, correct, but it seems like there's a lot of confusion surrounding this for somebody acting as an officer that he wasn't. David Bailey and Captain Ron Richardson met with Egypt Police Chief Gerald Goza at the Craighead County Sheriff's Office on January 6th this year. They discussed a document that was in Goza's personnel file pertaining to radar certification. We showed you that one just a second ago. Let's pull that one back up since we're talking about that right now. This document is what they pulled out. A check with CLEST revealed that Goza was a certified officer, according to their records, and did have radar certification, but that this document was just fraudulent. But since he really had it, they're saying that, oh, it's okay. Because the deception wasn't related to the certificate. The deception was related to a piece of paper. So it's okay. That's their line. That's not what I'm endorsing. I'm just telling you their reasoning in this, all right? So on January 6th, David Bailey and Ron Richardson met with Goza. This is Richardson's report. He went on to say, we discussed his high school diploma, an Egypt certificate of a level 2 class, and radar certificate from standards. Goza showed us his diploma paperwork from Southern High School. He explained he had joined the military at age 16. He was under the impression that his MOS in military gave him the equivalent of a GED. He told us he only took an online high school diploma class to provide a diploma to a private company for employment. His understanding was it was a legitimate diploma. I told him he needed to get with CLEST to see if they will accept the documents. Of course, they did not. We know that. We then discussed the Egypt Level 2 class certificate. This is something we didn't know about until today, something that we had no idea, another document that was apparently played with. We'll see. Goza said the class was put on at his department. He said he was in and out, did not sign the roster to go to the class. Thus, his name was never on the roster to complete that course, but he claimed he was there anyway. He said he attended the majority. There's some major typos in this. If you hear me mess up, that's what I'm trying to do is go through this. He said he had completed the majority of the class as a refresher only and was already certified. He said his agency made these certificates for all participants, right? Then here comes another document. We're talking about the radar certificate that he had another individual's name on. Goza said that he had been a certified radar operator. He said he did not have one, so he just put his name on an employee's that he had. It was then that Richardson talked to attorney Amanda Yarborough with CLEST. She said Goza is currently certified and has valid radar certification, but it was the certificates and GED diploma situation that took this to the next level. She said they would send auditors to Egypt the next day to begin the audit. That was on the 8th that took place, and they got there on the 9th, which is apparently when that letter was issued, and we'll show you that letter right now. Because this was the letter that CLEST had sent along. And I mean, it's got a lot of stuff in it, sure, but this is the most important part. Goza admitted to CLEST he duplicated another officer's certificate with information of his own. He admitted that. That is forgery. And he admitted to it, and they still are not going to charge him. So, according to the report, Ron Richardson discussed all of the above information with prosecuting attorney Scott Ellington and deputy prosecutor Jessica Thomason. It says that he called Amanda Yarborough back the same day. She told him investigators went to Egypt and did the audit. She said they had to remove the Egypt Level 2 F certificate because he couldn't prove he attended, and they couldn't prove he didn't. She said they had him remove the radar certificate and explain how to get his. She said they did not remove his certification due to either of those reasons. Then she said they were looking into the diploma to find out if they will accept it or not. It was, of course, not accepted. It was a decision made the very next day in this letter. However, I was also told this letter was never sent to prosecutors, and Prosecutor Scott Ellington said he had not seen this letter until yesterday. The very next statement in the investigative file was not on that date. In fact, it doesn't appear like in the investigative file that this letter is noted. So I wonder if authorities at Craighead County Sheriff's Department even got it. Tough to say. Let me remove my name bar so you can see the text down at the bottom. Sorry. You guys know who I am. So on the 27th, Ron Richardson spoke with Ellington a couple of times. He said a decision is pending due to Deputy Prosecutor Thomason being out of the office due to a family emergency. It was on the 27th he had followed up, right? It was February 6th that Stephen Warren came back in and had heard the case was closed. It was not, but authorities contacted Ellington again, and he advised to Ron Richardson he would discuss the decision with Deputy Thomason and they would move forward. On the 10th, it says David Bailey received a phone call from Captain Richardson. He said he got a call from prosecuting attorney's office, and she advised the county would not pursue criminal charges. That was on the 10th that decision was made. If you read the report, it suggests that authorities handed it off and the prosecutor decided not to do anything with it. That's what it reads like, right? But I'm told that's not accurate. I'm told that, as a matter of fact, that's not at all accurate. So let me finish getting through this report, because it says on the 12th that Warren went in and spoke once again with authorities. Just skipping through the details to try to get to the most important stuff. They were advised that they would once again check into the accusations of fraud and alert the prosecutor's office. And as you've known before, as we've told you before, Mr. Warren had been criminally charged the previous year. So, the investigative file makes it sound like the prosecutors were handed the ball and simply decided not to run with it, but I'm told that's not correct. I talked to Scott Ellington. He told me several things that he said he wanted me to use today in the report, and I will. He said the Sheriff's Department felt like they didn't have the element of intent to defraud. There's a typo in that. I'm going to fix that. He said that it looks bad, and so he asked them to continue to investigate it. That's what he said. But he said numerous conversations and numerous questions and requests for that to take place, it still did not result in charges coming about. He said he assigned it to Jessica Thomason. He said she had a family emergency that he specifically mentioned. And he said we did not see that letter until yesterday. That's what he said. And the official statement, of course, he put out on his Facebook page was this, which was that he was made aware of that yesterday, of course, by NEA report. The main questions we have tonight are for the mayor, who we hope will decide to answer our email we sent him today. He answered us yesterday. Even though it was today, it was a day late. The question we have right now is regarding this. Specifically, why is this police cruiser in front of the Egypt City Hall? You call it the Egypt City Hall. I mean, it's really just a room. Why is this car in front of it that was yesterday in front of his house or his home? And was he using that? And has he been acting as a law enforcement officer since then? And if so, why did you tell us in this statement that he has not been acting as a law enforcement officer since then? We have questions that are not getting a lot of answers right now, and I know a lot of people aren't enthusiastic about some of the ways that we've been asking some of the questions, but they can get over it, because the frank part of this is, just as I told another reporter today, none of these people are going to be your friend whenever you're no longer a reporter. I know that, right? So yes, I have friends in this business, but whenever I see something that's taken place that's wrong, that takes precedence over my friendships that I have gone through experience knowing won't be there when I'm no longer a reporter, at least with people that benefit off of you as a reporter. I already know that. And other reporters should figure that out too. But the issue is everybody wants to be nice and have friends, and I get that. It's better to have respect. In this instance, you're looking at a situation where it's clear corruption. A law enforcement officer who is apparently a fraudulent one was breaking the law. He may have still been breaking the law since then. Possibly yesterday, literally after I was told he would be arrested if he was still doing it. And I guarantee you we're going to hear more excuses why they can't arrest him. Whether it's from Ron Richardson at the sheriff's department, or whether it's from somebody else, maybe somebody at the prosecutor's office. For some reason, no matter how much stuff pops up on this guy, they won't go forward with criminal charges. But they did dismiss every ticket in the city today. And so if you had a ticket with the city of Egypt, or you had some type of pending criminal charge, you got out of it this morning, if it was still in court. If you had recently taken care of something, or if Goza wrote you a ticket, I'd suggest you speak to an attorney, because it may not have been legal, is what I'm being told. I had one attorney post online, so will the city of Egypt be refunding every single ticket that they have written since Goza was hired? Fair question, one we're not getting an answer to. I sent an email to the mayor and asked him, would you like to apologize to Stephen Warren, the man you had arrested, now knowing that the files he was requesting were indeed fraudulent, that he was right? And no response yet, because I probably won't get one either. I don't anticipate that that question will be answered. But we're going to keep asking these questions because there's a lot to figure out. I also don't particularly appreciate that the Craighead County Sheriff's Department today took my FOIA request and handed it over to KAIT before they handed it to me. Even though this story was one I broke yesterday on this broadcast and that the TV station did not know about until I broke it on this broadcast, they still released the documents to them before me. That's crooked. Kim Fowler, that's crooked. You can do better. You guys out there and gals can do better. And I'm not going to go through this every day and act like that I'm not getting slighted by law enforcement for simply trying to tell you what happened. In this case, cop broke the law, cop got caught, cop not getting charged, reporter the bad guy. I don't think so. We're going to keep following this case just as we have since yesterday and just as we initially broke this story. We'll let you know if we find out more information. Also, if we continue to get information that suggests that Goza may have been a law enforcement officer since his supposed resignation, well, we're going to be bringing that directly to law enforcement, and we'll also be bringing that to you here in a live report too. We appreciate everybody for tuning in. Let's take a look at chat and see. Let's see. Seneca said the city of Egypt should not be responsible for already paid tickets. Goza is the one who forged paperwork and lied, not the city. Unfortunately, he acted on behalf of the city, and whenever you are an official empowered government agent on behalf of a law enforcement agency, you are acting on behalf of the city and its residents, and the citizens of Egypt will be responsible for that. If you don't like it, don't elect bad people. And get these people out of office, right? If you elect people that will break the law, you're putting your taxpayer dollars at risk for liability. And so it may not be popular, but the city of Egypt is getting a civil rights lawsuit filed against it by this guy, Warren. They're preparing the civil rights lawsuit now, and they're going to file that. And it's not going to be pretty because you had a fake cop running around arresting and ticketing people. And now he's not going to be charged because reasons. So thank you, everybody. Let's see. There's another one that's posted. I'm still curious if that white Dodge truck is being shown. It's the one that would one involved today if it was at the police. Oh, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. I see what you're saying. And Joe Despain said he's going to drive 103 miles per hour through Egypt. Please don't do that, Joe. Thanks for watching on NEA Report. We do appreciate you for joining. Hey, listen, if you didn't know about it yet, you can become a supporter for 99 cents, and we actually give you extra news. We posted a lot of these documents so people can see them online. So you can actually go in and see the specific documents we've been referencing here. So you can become a supporter, 99 cents, and it keeps the lights on for us. We've made a lot of document requests, so we've got a lot of stuff to go through today, but we'll be coming back with more news from Northeast Arkansas tomorrow, unless breaking news breaks out, in which case we will break in. Stan Morris reporting from Jonesboro on NEA Report. Hope you have a good afternoon.